Welcome back. My name's Christy, and it is December 2024. It is December of 2024, and that means it is almost 2025. It means we are rolling into a new year, and you know that. That's not groundbreaking news. It comes at this time every year. It comes a new year. But the question is, what are you doing? What are you doing this month to finish out the year? December is a great time. It is a great time to plan for your personal growth, actually. December can be all about evaluating the past year and developing a strategy that will help you maximize your growth, your personal growth and development in the new year. Evaluating 2025 on the front end while still on the back end of 2024 is 10 to 1 more valuable than evaluating 2025 in December of 2025. Now is the time to do it. Now is the time to do it. Why would anyone want to wait until they are done with life to consider how to live their best life? It's too late. Remember, it isn't experience that makes the best teacher. Experience does not make the best teacher. You can experience something, and that does not mean that you drew the right conclusions from that experience. It doesn't mean you drew the right conclusion. It's an honest evaluation about your lived experience that makes the best teacher. It's an honest evaluation. It's evaluated experiences that make the best teacher. So you literally can go through something and come out with an entirely wrong perspective on it. And that's not what you want to learn from. So the question becomes then, have you evaluated last year, this past year, 2024, and based on your evaluation, do you have a strategy? Do you have a strategy for growth for the new year? Do you have a strategy, a plan for your growth? Here's what I'm learning to be true. This is what I'm learning to be true. It's something that author and speaker John Rohn said, R-O-H-N, Rohn. He said, if you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. And guess what? What they have planned for you is not much. It's not much. They got a lot planned for them. They don't got a lot planned for you, but you fit right into it. A plan or strategy or design for your life and for your growth should be a system. It should be a system that allows you to have or produce a very specific result. A system that allows you to produce a very specific result. And I talk about systems all the time. I believe in the power of good systems. Every organization I've built, every team that I've built, every team that I've led, good systems are what created success. So one of the 4 masteries of an unstoppable life, my proprietary teaching program, is systems. Systems built around what matters most. And mastering your growth matters. So you should have systems built around it. Because it matters immensely. It matters so immensely, you should have a system around it, because if you don't, it won't happen. You need systems for intentional growth. Michael Gerber, author of the groundbreaking book, The E-Myth, older book, groundbreaking in its time, one of my favorite books of all time. And he says this, he says, systems permit ordinary people to do extraordinary things. They just had a system. They planned how to grow. You don't just want any system. You want a system that has a strategy to maximize the growth in your life. And so the next even deeper question then becomes, do you have a growth system that maximizes the areas that you want to grow in? In 2025, I want you to go from, I don't have a growth plan for my life, to I have a growth plan for my life filled with strategy and systems that are going to be the expressway to get me to that growth as fast as I can, to go as far as I can, as effectively as I can. That should be a goal for all of us. A growth plan. Personal growth is a planned event. It doesn't just happen. It does not just happen, but it is vital to your success, because growth is the catalyst to success. The only way you can expand your life and make it better is to grow to that area of growth that you've decided to grow in. If you grow into it, if you grow to it, you can keep it. If it's given to you, just handed to you, or maybe it came by way of some experience that you didn't care much about, you're going to lose it. It's not going to be a learned and internally experienced situation for you. It's going to be something that you go, eh. You want to grow, and you want to grow in a way that you can keep it, something that adds to you, that you now have taken away, and now you are better equipped, you are stronger, smarter, all the things, because you were able to internalize it. So what should a plan for growth look like? Well, first, it really should include the big picture. You got to start with the end in mind. You got to start with the big picture. We have to have the end result in mind when building any effective system. The big picture is always clear. It should always be clear, and it should always be expandable. It should be expandable. The great separator in success is almost always the size of the picture. That's the great separator. The great separator in success is almost always the size of the picture you paint, the size of the big picture. A small picture includes just you. The big picture includes your family, your friends, your ideas, your dreams. Do you have a holistic, big picture plan? Are you as distracted as I am by my dog right now? I don't know what he's doing. He's never done that. Einstein, what you got? He's so cute. Okay. Big picture. Include everyone. Zoom all the way out. Have a plan that lifts all areas of your life that you value. One of the skill sets a leader has to develop is this. Leaders must see more than others see, and they must see before others see. Leaders must see more than others see, and they must see long before others see. If you set your mind on the big picture, you're going to be able to see more than others see, and you're going to see before they see. And that's what's going to make you a good leader. It will seem like intuition, but really you were just planning ahead. You were just looking. You were looking at life. I have found that for me, a holistic growth plan should target 3 values that I have, 3 of my personal values, 3 things that I value in life. I have more values than that, but at minimum, my plan needs to have these 3 values in mind. And you can borrow mine if you like, or maybe sit and dream about, what do you value? What are the things that value? What are the things really that bring you peace? I've been thinking about peace a lot lately, and I don't think it's just because it's December and it's the season of peace and hope and joy, all the things, right? I think there's something shifting. I think peace is the new profit. I think everybody wanted money for a while. Now they just want peace. And so I've determined that my growth plan, at minimum, should cause growth in 3 areas of value. 3 areas I value. The first one is it should cause me to come alive on the inside. It should cause me to wake up and come alive on the inside. And maybe in the process of the day-to-day, I'm not feeling all that awake, because there's the tasks, there's the to-do list. But I know that each of those tasks are contributing to the ultimate thing that makes me come alive on the inside. Entrepreneurship, leadership, adding value to others, building you up, talking to you, communicating, speaking to an audience. Those are the things that writing, getting down a new book. It's got to make me come alive on the inside. The second is it's got to help me create deeper connections. I need deeper connections in my life. It's got to be something that builds the relationships of the people I value the most and allows me, helps me, teaches me, trains me to be fully present, challenges me to be fully present in every moment. And it's got to allow me to pursue a life that matters. There's a lot of things in life that don't matter. A lot of things we do that just don't matter. But whatever my growth plan is, it's got to be building, actively helping me pursue a life that matters. What is life that matters to me? A life that matters means I'm adding value to other people. I'm influencing by adding value to other people. Am I building the people in my life? Am I building you? Am I adding value? So those are my 3 things. Really what we're talking about here today is we're talking about living life by design. We're talking about being proactive and not reactive. We're talking about not living life by default. When we live life by default, that's exactly when other people, oh, squirrel. Okay, great opportunity over here. I'm going to help this guy build his dream and I'm going to abandon my own. No. I'm going to plan. I'm going to plan ahead to grow in the areas that I know that I value, and they're going to be the catalyst to get me there. Life, here's the thing. The thing about life. Life is very simple. It's very simple. Keeping life simple, that's very difficult. It's very difficult for us. One of the challenges we have when it comes to designing the life we want is keeping life simple. Life is simple when we make specific plans according to our specific values, but in order to keep life simple, okay, we have to keep our systems and our plans simple, right? So we have this plan for growth. We have systems and strategies for growth in the areas that we want to grow in, but we've got to keep them simple. Ask yourself a few questions when you're designing a growth plan for 2025. I'm feeling inspired. I might need to create some sort of a workbook or something that you can work through to create your plan for 2025. But ask yourself these questions. Can it be my plan received personally? What do I mean by that? It means, can I internalize this? Can someone is this internalizable? Can I receive this? Can I take it in? Can I make it work for me? The next thing you can ask yourself is, can it be repeated easily? Can it be repeated easily? Because if it's simple enough, I can remember it and I can recall it at any given time when it's going to serve me in my day-to-day decision making. Whatever the steps and strategies in this plan is, it's got to serve me by being easy to remember, easy to come to mind in my day-to-day decision making. If that's not happening, it means I'm not connecting with it. I'm not internalizing it. It's too difficult. It's too complicated. And it also needs to be, ask yourself, can it be transferred strategically? Can my plan, my strategy for growth be transferred strategically? Why? Is it dependent on a specific understanding, or can it be passed on through different cultures? Can my plan be transferred to someone else? Why? Why is this important? Why does this matter? We're talking about ourselves, right? Because good systems are good, but they only become great when they're duplicated in other people. And they can only be duplicated in other people if they can be internalized, if they can be personalized, if they can be remembered, if they're doable. We're talking about doable here. If you're a leader, can the people who follow you grasp what you've done to bring about success in your life, and can they easily adapt it to their own life? For systems to be effective, they have to meet this criteria of simple, scalable, reproducible, and teachable. If they're not those 4 things, they're not going to be useful to you, and they're not going to be useful to anybody else. Those are things you probably didn't think about when you were thinking about your personal growth. Develop a system and make it a simple system that other people can use. Most of our lives' complications come from just making life way too difficult. We make things just too hard, okay? There's taking life seriously, and then there is taking life too seriously. I remember attending a large growing church for a time. We were kind of there doing a pastoral ministry for a bit, and youth group ministry. It was actually really fun. It was a short time. And then we switched to a small congregation. And I remember in this small congregation, the pastor's wife, who became a great friend, she asked me, she said, why do you come here and not to that mega church? They've got everything. She even said, she goes, I would go there. And without even thinking about an answer, it just flew out of my mouth. I said, They take themselves way too seriously. I mean, the thing is when your thoughts and your strategies, when they track so high as a leader that everything is so super intense and every decision, every concept, every ideal, every initiative, etc., is so incredibly critical and so weighty and heavy that those who you're asking to join your vision can't track with you. It's just too complicated. It's too complicated. It becomes exhausting and overwhelming just listening to your plan. It's not simple. It needs to be easy and light. Your systems should be so simple that they are easily communicated and easily transferable and duplicatable in others. It's the old KISS adage, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. That's how your systems for growth for 2025 should look. Don't make it too hard. Listen, if you're not on my mailing list, go to christinarcy.com and be sure to sign up so I send blog posts out for encouragement. You can read them like devotionals in the morning when you're having your coffee and your Bible. If you just need a pick-me-up. And I've also got a free teaching on there. It's actually 2 teachings and a downloadable, printable card that goes with it. You can stick it in your Bible on your nightstand. And it's called the 8 Steps to Helping Calm Anxiety and Get Your Spark Back. And give it to someone you know. If you aren't struggling with anxiety, definitely give it to someone you know. Anxiety is really an epidemic. It's an epidemic, especially among millennials. I don't know if you know this. Millennials are called the burnout generation. The burnout generation. Their anxiety is through the roof. The generation behind them, oh my goodness, so much worse. So that will add value to you, I hope. Go to christinarcy.com to get that. Okay, let's dive back in. Something you should know about designing your growth plan, about designing your own life is this. Designing your life is more important than designing your career. It's more important. Why? Because who you are will most accurately determine what you do. Who you are will most accurately determine what you do. If you listened to the last 2 podcasts that we talked about your purpose, your why, your vision, and all that other confusing stuff, I reminded you that who you are is infinitely more important than what you do. Who you are is infinitely more important than what you do. And that is because who you are will most accurately determine what you can and what you will do. Planning for growth should always be about who you are, not about what you do. Listen, life here, this life that we're in right now, this 2024 to 2025, this is not a dress rehearsal. This is not. This is not a dress rehearsal. Life comes with neither an instruction manual or a second chance or a warm-up. You're here. This is life now and today. And PSA, you are not getting out of this thing alive. My name is Christy, and I'll tell you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. This is the real thing. This is real life. And so how do we live it out? How do we live this thing of designing ourselves a plan and a strategy for growth? I have this sticky note on my monitor here, and it says YBH. YBH. It stands for yeah, but how? It's there to remind me that I can give you a million earth-shattering thoughts on life, but if you walk away going, yeah, but how? I haven't done my job. It makes me nothing more than a shock jock, okay? It doesn't make me a teacher if I can't give you ways to activate this, a plan of action for what I'm talking about, to implement it. So question is, how can you live this out? How can you walk it out? How can you put it into action so that you're actually reaping the benefits of everything that you've just learned? First, know this. Plans look really good on paper. So be ready to expand the resources of time, money, and energy in order to meet reality. First, know. that plans look really good on paper. So you're going to have to be ready to expand the resources of time, money, and energy in order to meet reality, in order to meet the real world. I think things can happen a lot faster. And generally, I think that other people can do things a lot faster than they do. One of my mentors says he multiplies everything by 2. When he's planning, he multiplies by 2. And I get that. I get that because we are a microwave people living in a crockpot world. We are. We want fast results. That's not reality. Leaders are most often looking for the microwave solution to every endeavor, but we can't control other people. We can't control the time that to which the world comes into the season for which we were made to answer the call. That's something we can't control. But we can control the cost or estimate we give it. We can control the cost we give it, the estimation of cost, time, energy, money, it's going to take. Every great leader knows that the dream takes longer, it costs more, and burns up more energy than they ever thought possible. So do yourself a favor. Set goals and intentions that are realistic. And listen, this is not universal law, okay? So we don't want to go making a theological assumption that isn't true here. And here's what I mean by that. There's nothing built in and established in creation by God that says our endeavors must cost twice as much. That says there's no universal law that says our endeavors must take twice as long and expend twice as much energy than we think it will. There is no universal law that says it must be the hardest, most difficult road you will ever take. That is not a law. It is a reality for almost all of us, though. But it's not a law. The only thing that makes it true is that nearly every single time for nearly every single one of us is that in the process of growth, we have layers of programming and personality defects and emotional hangups that start to shed. See, when we engage the process of shedding so that we can grow, we're shedding what doesn't fit the new man. Okay, what doesn't fit the new creation we became at salvation. So those layers start to come off, okay, as we start breaking out and moving forward. And so, we're saved immediately, but we shed the old man along on a continuum, a process. And because most of us choose to grow the hard way is by experiencing the hard stuff and making a mess out of things. We choose that way, okay? Because most of us choose to grow that way rather than the easier way. The easier way is being a disciple. It's growing in wisdom, listening to the Holy Spirit. We end up learning by failing. That is not God's design. It is not his preferred way for you to grow, but it is how we ultimately tend to end up growing. We want to make it too hard. And I think that's an important distinction. I think it's an important distinction because if you're not careful, you're going to look back at your growth and you're going to say, man, the times that I grew the most were the times when I faced the most adversity. Great. But it wasn't the adversity that caused your growth. It was your response to the adversity. And there's a very important distinction right there because you are in dangerous ground of crediting the pain in your life that that was not originated from God himself. You are about to credit him for it. You don't want to do that. You do not want to blame God for evil. Okay? That is what Job did. That is why it took Job so long to get everything restored. It wasn't God waiting. It was him getting his mind right and his belief right. That God wasn't doing that to him. So, you guys know how I feel about that. It's a whole nother story, but I want you to be really clear. I want you to be really clear because the minute we start blaming God or attaching to him, hey, God let this happen to me and I'm a better person for it because I went through a lot of pain. Well, what you're actually doing is you're limiting God. he can't move or grow more in your life if you're blaming him for something that he never did. So that's really important distinction. Wasn't in my notes there. I probably say it too much, but you know what? I don't say it too much because we're so programmed to think like that. We're so programmed to credit pain. But it's never the pain. It's the response to our pain. So, failure has no power to produce something good in you. Failure has no power to produce something good in you. It doesn't. It's because you decided to respond to the failure by evaluating it, learning from it, and growing from it, that something good in you is produced. So, a little bit more about developing systems to live this out before we end this episode. Develop strategies depend on systems. How? Well, do this. Take your best time and match it to your greatest priority. Take your best time of day. The time when you are at your best, when you can do your best, when you are in your best thinking and creating mode. When you are in the best mode to do the thing, the priority thing that gets you to the growth that you are looking for, match that to the best time of day. For me, it's early morning. And by early, I mean early. I was up at 3 a.m. today. I got up at 3 a.m. to write this message for you. True story. Hope it's good. Because I have just found that my brain works better when it comes to writing and focusing and communicating. I think a lot of people who write are similar to that. So I get up as early as my body will allow me, force myself out of bed. I've got an alarm clock on the other side of the room, so I have to get out of bed. But I get up early because writing and speaking, communicating, those things are pertinent to what I do, what I want to do, what makes me come alive on the inside. But I do it best first thing in the morning. Not everyone's a morning person. Now, if you ask my husband, he would tell you I'm not a morning person. What does he mean by that? If I get up at 3 a.m., how is it I'm not a morning person? Well, I'm not ready for people at 3 a.m. In fact, I'm really not even ready for people at 7 a.m. It's more like 8, 9, if I have to be honest, more like 10, if I really had my way. But I can't push off all meetings until then. But I do my best writing and communicating early. The house is quiet. It's the best time. So take your best time, match it with your greatest priorities. That's just one system to depend on when developing your growth strategies for the next year. The goal is to have a better design for your growth through better strategy. Personal growth can and will come systematically, not haphazardly. It's a planned event. There's a saying in business when it comes to finding solutions, and it's this: systems are the solution. They are the solution. The system built around what matters most is the solution you're looking for. Effective systems include systems that make use of our priorities, so the highest and best use of your time right now, and have a good metric. Measurable, right? We have a saying in real estate, in my years in real estate, where when I get multiple offers on a property, and we were flipping or whatever, we would call to the buyers and we say, hey, please submit your highest and best offer by such and such time and deadline. Highest and best. In other words, somebody already submitted a really great offer, but you better come in strong. We would say highest and best. What's the highest you can do, best you can? Because we don't want to sit here going back and forth. No more of this back and forth. What's the highest and best use of your time? And can you measure the outcome? Is it measurable? Without a metric of effectiveness for your system, for my system, there's no way to know if we are successful or not. There's no way to define it. And the reality is what gets measured gets done. What gets measured, what you measure gets done. Can I measure it in a day, a week, a year? Here's something I learned. If a mentor said, if you were to spend an hour a day for 5 years studying and learning about one thing, you would be an expert in it. 1 hour a day. So 1 hour for me, 8 to 9 p.m., if I spend that time reading and studying good marketing copy, that would be my priority for me. I can write to you all day like we're having a conversation in my kitchen on a blog. Okay? I can write a podcast script to bring to you to give you as much of the crazy in my brain that I've sorted out, and now I have something useful to share with. I could do that till I'm blue in the face. But if I can't write good sales copy on a website to help you understand why you need this, why this is so vital to your life and your success and your peace and your health and your joy and your happiness, it doesn't even matter what I put out there. It's just going to make the people who need to hear what I have to say are never going to hear it. So I'm saying to myself, okay, if I need to measure something, if I need to measure my growth, I could measure it by saying, okay, from 8 to 9 p.m. every night, I'm going to read about how to write good marketing copy. In 5 years, I'll be amazing at it. Let's hope it's a little bit before then. I can, again, and what happens if I don't do that one critical skill? Okay, that's not what I want to be in. I don't want to be a marketer. I don't want to do that. But I got to know it. I got to know it. Otherwise, what I am trying to bring you is just dormant. It's useless. A good system should always promote consistency. That's something else you need to know about a good system. It should promote consistency. A good system should predict the outcome reliably. Consistency, reliability, your system should be a daily practice of doing the right things over and over again. So, this December, just so you know, this was the law of design that we talked about today. The law of design, living life by design instead of living it by default. So this December, take some time to assess what areas of your life that really need the most strategic planning. What areas do you need to address the most? Here's a look into what part of my strategy for growth for 2025 looks like, okay? It looks like prioritizing growth for me in 3 areas. 3 areas I prioritize, 3 areas that I know this next year I have to grow in. I prioritize growth in my strengths. I'm going to grow in my strengths, not my weaknesses. Why would I do that? Grow in your strengths. Your natural God-given abilities, grow in those. Because the reality is, I'm 5'2", okay? It does not matter how hard I try. I could probably say with 100% certainty I will never be an NBA player. I'm 5'2", okay? Also, I wasn't born with a ball in my hand. I'm not an athlete. It's not my thing, not my jam, okay? Why would I, if I came into this world with no athletic ability or very little, and if I came into this world with we call it fun size, by the way. You know, like the fun size candies? I'm fun size. I don't have the 6+ whatever feet it takes to be an NBA player. Why would I spin my wheels day after day after day trying to become an NBA player? That would be insane. But I came into the world with a big mouth. I came in the world loving to talk. Love to talk. We lost my last living grandparent passed away last year. Grandpa. Or I guess it was this year, but it was last February, so it feels like it was a couple years ago. But anyway, he's his favorite story to tell. He tells everybody he knows when he tells them about me was that him and my dad and I were taking some sort of a walk when I was little, and I just talked and 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 never, Finally, I ran out of things to say, and it gets quiet. And Grandpa says, I said, sure is quiet around here. We're out in the woods somewhere. He just thought it was hysterical that I finally shut up and then it was finally quiet. I love to talk. I'm a communicator. I, at 5 years old, had a microphone in my hand on a stage singing. I confess I did let my singing ability go pretty dormant for a long time. But part of that's because I'm really passionate about speaking, teaching, writing. What do I speak, teach, and write about? I want to teach you how to lead others. Why? Because if I teach you how to lead others, if I develop you as a leader and you develop other leaders, the impact of what I do then becomes exponential. Versus if I spend my time pouring into people who don't lead other people. That's why I like to develop leaders of leaders. So when I'm prioritizing growth, I'm going to start with my strengths. I'm going to start with what I'm already naturally good at. If I decide I'm going to be a basketball player, on a scale of 1 to 10, I can try my whole life and I might be a 2. But because I came into the world with my big mouth and I love to read and I love to study, at some point in my life, I can get to a 10. I can get to that 10. So the other thing that I prioritize has to be my choices, my decision-making ability. This is a big priority. My attitude, my discipline when it comes to the choices that I make, those are going to help me be successful. Decision-making is vital to a healthy life. The ability to make good decisions when under pressure is very, very important. And as I look over this last year, I did a good job at making some really good decisions under pressure. I did a not so good job in other moments of pressure. And that's just an area I got to grow in. I got to go back and I got to glance back at 2024 and say, okay, what was the pressure I was under? What were the circumstances? Is there a common thread when I didn't make the best decision under pressure? Decisions. We are one decision away from changing everything about our lives. Just one decision. So I've got to grow in my ability to make decisions. I was listening to Ed Milet actually just a little bit ago, and he talked about this. I don't know if I'll get it right, but he essentially said that the quality of your life, or maybe it was your success, depends on the amount of pressure that you can take and still make good decisions. I was like, there's probably some truth to that. You know, if you're a leader and you lead other people and you can't make strong decisions under pressure, you've got a problem. You've got to be able to handle an intense amount of pressure and make good decisions. And that has to be built into your life before the stressors come. That's something that you have to build into your life daily. So I know decision-making has to be something that good decision-making has to be second nature to me. And the third thing is my belief. It's what I believe about God, what I believe about me because of what I believe about God, and what I believe is possible because of what I believe about God and what I believe about me. I've got to increase my belief. Every day I've got to look at life and go, what's possible? What else is possible? If God is God, if God is who he says he is, and if I am who he says I am, and if I can do what he says I can do, then what's possible for me? What am I limiting myself on? You've heard the phrase maybe that luck comes to the prepared. This and this is preparation, okay? Preparation is developing or refining the systems which will lead to your own growth. Preparation. Luck comes to the prepared. It really is actually what we're talking about is serendipity. Serendipity is that phenomenon that happens, right? You've made a growth plan and you've said, I'm just working my plan. And so while I'm sticking to my plan, all the things that I need are added to me as I'm just walking along. That's what Jesus was talking about when he was saying, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. And as you do that, as you're just walking along, seeking first to be a kingdom person, to live in the kingdom, to live by the kingdom, to live in your kingdom assignment, food, drink, shelter, all these things are just added. They're just there. Serendipity. Luck comes to the prepared. All right. I love you guys. I'm so grateful for you. I hope this added value to your life. I know I learned some things and I'm excited to see you next week. And I'm excited. You know what? Send me a message. Tell me that you've activated this. Tell me what happened. Tell me if it challenged you. I would love to hear from you guys. Talk soon.